All right, well, thank you everybody for coming, and thank you for coming out on one of Melbourne's not better days. I think we've had 10 days of sunshine on the rooftop, and now we have today. But I do appreciate you coming out in the rain. I know it's slightly more of a hassle rather than just going straight home to dinner and bed. But appreciate you all coming here. We have a room full of incredible brands all here to talk about customer retention. And why customer retention is so important at this time of year is a lot of brands are coming into Black Friday. Black Friday is one of the biggest events of the year for any e-commerce brand. But Black Friday over the past few years has gotten bigger and bigger. It's more expensive to run ads now, and so the customer retention that you get after the acquisition through Black Friday, that is what we need to be talking about today. So that is what attention retention is all about, how we can retain those customers over 2024 when we acquire them through the Black Friday or the holiday sales period. So we have a great lineup today. So I will get the panelists to come down. So we have Sophie Wells. Sophie is the e-commerce manager of Nakedvice, a fashion handbag brand. Pick your seat. Interesting story. Sophie and I actually met at an event 12 months ago now that we were partnered with Yotpo for as well. So a bit of a full circle moment there. Sorry, guys. Matthew Stuckings we have over here on this side. Sorry, I'm going to have to read your job title. I know you told me just before. CRM, CDP, Loyalty, and GA4 Manager. So thank you. Matt is going to bring some really interesting aspects of marketing to this conversation as well. So really focus around that customer retention. His experience through Klaviyo is great. And then also just looking at that tech stack that businesses have as well. So it could be also interesting to chat to after this. And then we also have Zoe Lowe, General Manager or Global General Manager of July, the suitcase brand. Zoe has had a very impressive career through the marketing side of things, lots of different roles that you've had which have been interesting, and then such an impressive career through July as well. So congratulations. Thank you. Tell you about it. Awesome. So we're going to get started. Oh, I'm Lauren, by the way, CEO of Megaphone, which is the office that you're currently in. We do digital marketing for brands. We work with e-commerce and with service-based businesses. Thank you, Alana. So let's just get started off with this. So first of all, why do you think retention is so important for brands in 2023? Who wants to start us off? Yeah, Matt. You've been thrown in.
Sure, I get thrown under the bus. Well, two things. I would say, how do you define retention first? Is it coming back for that second purchase or further on, or is it keeping a subscriber to one of your channels while you're trying to engage them before they purchase again? So keep in mind, we'll be talking about examples. I'll probably share of two of those. But the real problem is once you acquire a customer, whether that by or paid or organic or word of mouth, doesn't really matter. What are you going to do to get them to come back? Like, do you want to pay for them again? Like, or are you going to find a way that you can reconnect with them and kind of nudge them in that direction? So I think it's always been important for a long time, but it's become increasingly important because now people are feeling the pressure of that paid acquisition. So
100%. And I'll pass over to you, Zoe.
I don't really have that much more to add. You literally covered all my points, but yeah.
Have you seen any changes in your specific industry over the past few years?
Yeah, I think we've definitely talked about it more. That's what I found, especially in the last 4 years. So I only entered e-com 4 years ago. I was in tech before. In tech, because I was in SaaS, I was in crypto world and fintech. We always talk about retention because it's just like basic SaaS pirate metrics. If you don't know what pirate metrics is, definitely take a look. It's really interesting. So I've always been very retention focused. And then when I came into e-com, at the start, it was all acquisition, but definitely saw it increase a lot.
Yeah, I think we definitely have put more focus, On retention, I think since we are a fashion brand and we do sell pieces that you kind of only come back and buy once, we've noticed that our customers are becoming smarter, so we're kind of chasing how we can keep them. We have noticed that our customers, instead of buying on-trend pieces, instead of like a pink handbag, they're buying a handbag that they will have for a lifetime. So we are kind of putting more focus on how we can keep them and get them back.
Actually, I will add to that. It's really interesting because we talk a lot about value shoppers becoming more and more prominent, especially in the last 12 months. Even before the panel, I was talking to Matt and Soph about Lovisa being like high value. And especially what's really interesting with July is our products have a lifetime warranty, which makes it really interesting when you talk about lifetime value and repeat purchase rate. But we'll cover that soon.
Awesome. Yeah. And I think I've been in the e-commerce marketing space for about 8 years now. And I think the conversation has been so interesting in the transition over the past 8 years from initially starting and we just need to get more customers. But then now it's evolved to we want to make more revenue. It's how do we make more revenue? You retain customers, which is exactly what we want to talk about. So I'll go to you, Sophie. What are some things that you're doing now to set yourself up for the seasonal sale period? So looking at Black Friday, but all the way through to December.
Yeah, sure. So what we've done so far is internally we've kind of met with the marketing team and looked at what we've done in the past year, what has worked, what hasn't worked, what kind of ads did we run, do we need to review our offer, was it too enticing, was it not enticing enough? From there, we do actually work with Megaphone and we kind of think of the best way that we can, I guess, generate leads, whether that be through a competition, whether that be through just lead gen ads. I've got a specific focus this year on acquiring mobile numbers. Obviously, during a busy period, everyone is getting emails. Black Friday, for example, I look at my inbox, I've got 40,000 emails from all different brands that I've signed up to over the past couple of years. Whereas if I get a text message, it's more personal and it kind of breaks through the noise. So that's kind of what we're focusing on coming up into the peak promotion period.
Awesome. And anything to add there, Matt?
Sure. One of the things that we're trying to work really hard on is doing a sales sequence. So for those that are not aware, when you acquire a subscriber or a new customer and therefore a subscriber into your database before you do that kind of a big Black Friday week, a sales sequence it's all focused on using your email campaigns in a logical sequence of, like early access, collection highlight, do a resend to engaged. You're doing it in a logical sequence, early last chance, and then sale reactivation to sign up for SMS. That's often something I do to kind of grow that SMS database. But just really thinking about not only the 3 or 4 days where you might have a week or a month worth of revenue, but starting in November 1st, basically, how do we do from there to Boxing Day in a logical way, through campaigns. And often you'll find if you have a really good deal or if you have customers that want to do that repurchase after you've originally acquired them in before November 1st or in early November before you get to Black Friday, you might get 2 to 3 purchases out of a couple before the end of the year if you have your sales sequence done right. So that's my 2 cents.
Absolutely. So I think any e-commerce brand that's not gathering SMS numbers right now, you should go home and start to gather your SMS numbers right now. And how do you balance your organic activity with your paid activity? I'll go to you, Zoe.
That's a great question. PR and partnerships is a huge part of our stack. We really do PR extraordinarily well, and it's probably the reason why we grew so quickly. I'll use a really weird example. When the guys, so Ethan and Rich, 2 guys own July, when they started the business, they gifted a ton of suitcases, expensive suitcases, with no obligation to a ton of influencers. And it worked. It's very expensive strategy and high risk in my opinion, but it worked really, really well. How do we balance it? Very challenging, really hard to be completely honest. In the recent, especially when we come to slower period that we're in right now, October's just really challenging in general. We're at the stage now at the start where when we were early stages, we were really aggressive and with organic strategies, especially with Black Friday, lots of gifting, lots of working, and we don't actually go on sale. Like we don't ever go on sale. We'll do like a bundle and save or more luxe premium offer. So we work very closely with that, and we do a lot of partnerships ahead of that. I guess what I'm trying to say is, now that we're getting a bit older, we're in year 4, we've reached a point now where before Black Friday, a lot of the organic strategies, we're becoming a lot more discerning with the return that we will get from it, whereas we were a lot more lax in the early days, and we were lucky enough to be able to. But for us this year, so PR, huge for us, because what we do is we launch a lot of products strategically. That's our strategy. We launch cool products close to Black Friday, or before and after, to keep the momentum up. Partnerships, so we, for example, we are supplying all the Olympic athletes with suitcases. That's in like we're doing Gangwon and Paris, but for us strategically thinking about, well, we'll see a dip after Black Friday, but also we want to gain attention before Black Friday. So do we strategically announce that partnership before? And then how do we leverage it in the media to get eyeballs across the brand? So it's a lot of brand awareness stuff. In short, lots of effort with organic, and then paid. It's kind of like we know what to do. So that for us, we put a lot of effort into organic stuff. Yeah, brand awareness.
Awesome. And over to you, Matt. I would love to hear a little bit about how you use email marketing and SMS marketing post customer acquisition at Lovisa.
One of the things that I'm doing at the moment is rebuilding the customer lifecycle flows. So like all the automations post-purchase, and including SMS and email splits in them. So doing like we use Klaviyo because I can only speak to that from the retention side. So doing an email and SMS split. So when someone signs up to the database, whether it's a one-step, like an email form, or a two-step email and SMS together, you kind of tag the profile with, the preferred channel. And then you set up a flow to kind of recalibrate that every 30 days. We're like, if they've received an email or an SMS, did they engage with it? If not, tag or untag. And then using those as splits in flows. When you get to an email that really counts, like an offer or the last chance email, put a split in there, and then you can talk to your customers on whichever channel they're most engaged on.
And just to be really clear to everybody here, when you're acquiring an email address, is that email and phone number, or do you do them separately?
I always have my forms set up two-step, which means email and SMS at the same time. So it's optional. So you do the first step, email, and then you go to the next page, submit. It says, do you want to sign up for text as well? That's two-step. People have the option not to do the SMS, but we find we get a great conversion rate with that.
Have you ever tested any incentives on that second step to get people to do that?
I have in the past in different brands I've worked with, but we don't, and we get a quite good sign-up rate. So the value proposition for signing up for SMS is getting early access to things, and also getting deals that no one else gets. And I hope we deliver on that.
And how often would you send an SMS? This is, I think, a big question, a big topic that we often talk about at Megaphone in terms of how frequent is too frequent. It's not treated like an email. It's different. So how often would you send an SMS to a customer?
I say it totally depends on the brand and the product life cycle in terms of how quick you repurchase. But for us, it ends up being roughly around twice a month for a campaign, which I think is pretty good, like 1 to 2 times a month. If you're kind of excluding the non-engaged SMS profiles, you're not going to be wasting money. But really, where our focus now is realizing that SMS campaigns for us, like our brand, they don't convert as well. Like we're getting basically a 1-to-1 or a 1.5 ROI on them for how much they cost. So for us now, it's more how can we put them into the life cycle marketing and just talk to them on whatever the preferred channel is.
Awesome. And Sophie, what would be some specific ways or any tools that you guys have to actually to acquire those email addresses going into that?
In terms of tools, I don't think we actually use any, to be honest, but like I did mention before, we will run a competition that'll give our customers the option either to sign up via text or email or both. They actually get the decision. Lead gen as well is also a great way that we do also acquire numbers, that is when we'll start running ads in the lead up to Black Friday. We'll offer them the VIP access. We do also actually have close friends. We've now just started on Instagram, which we found really works well for us. Also using things like TikTok, which might sound a bit strange, but we find that engaging, in comments with other customers that have commented and telling them like sign up via like text message. We'll let you know when our next sale is. We find that really works for us as well.
Awesome. And for a brand that might be new to Black Friday, can you talk through what running a competition actually means? What's the goal of it? What do you get out of it?
Correct. So the competition you can offer anything. We're thinking of doing win $1,000 wardrobe because that does work for us and our customer. That's what they want. They want free clothes from us, basically. I mean, who wouldn't? And then in terms of that, what they'll have to do is sign up to our email list and then also just literally sign up and give us their number. And then they'll go into the draw to win. We'll pick a winner, and then they'll also then get VIP access to when we launch our sale.
Awesome. Thank you. And over to you, Zoe. Are there any particular metrics that you specifically look at to determine if your customer retention rate is good, bad? Are there any that you look to improve?
Keep it pretty simple. Repurchase rate. I look at the first time in returning. Oh, on Shopify. So I look at that pretty often. We do. We only just started doing cohort analysis stuff. I guess our goal is we want to be profitable from the first purchase, so we take the pressure off. And because we're only really 4 years old, we've only just started to look into that. And it's been pretty interesting seeing what they come back for. I think there's some pretty easy, clear set cohort analysis reports available on Shopify if you're on it. So definitely take a look. Yeah.
Awesome. And for a business that might be starting out, are there particular, core things that you wish that you had known back when you were starting out?
I have so many. I don't really know what to say. That's quite broad. Was this specifically with?
Customer retention.
No, let me just.
I think one of the interesting things that we, when we speak with customers, is often that they might not actually know customer lifetime value, or they might not actually know at what point they do break even or when they are profitable. So even just looking at ahead on how much they can spend to acquire a customer versus lifetime value, that might not be something they've thought about. So is there anything along those lines that would be helpful for a brand to set up when they're starting out rather than, investigating it 3 years later?
Yes, there are a lot of calculators online. You can simply Google it for your P&L and your COGS and stuff. I definitely wish we did that more, but we had a pretty good handle on it. I will say we only recently really found a good way for us to do attribution, and it's still not even very complex. One of my big regrets is not setting up post-purchase surveys earlier. Especially when we invested so heavily into organic channels like gifting and stuff. We just did it, and it's really, really good because without it, we wouldn't have known how much impact TikTok had for us and word of mouth. So we have very clear, actionable outcomes from it where we saw oh crap, actually a lot of people hear about us from word of mouth. This actually does justify loyalty. The loyalty program, it does justify us doing the referral program. Oh my God, Rad's totally going to come talk to me after this. And also, it also justified us investing more into TikTok. So that's probably one of the good ones for retention in terms of retention strategies and keeping the relationship going.
What's the software that you use for?
I won't name it, just because you can come and talk to me after about it.
And Matt, did you have anything to add into any tips that you could be providing brands around that as well?
Around the numbers?
Yes.
So 2 sets of numbers. Like I talked about before, you're talking about subscriber acquisition and retention. So we have a set of numbers there. Most of what I look at is subscriber growth rate. So that's, total subs versus total unsubs. Because you want to make sure that if you are sending a lot of content that they're not finding engaging, they're probably going to unsubscribe. But if you're growing faster than your unsubscribes, great. So that's one. A lot of the other metrics are really helpful, like CAC, LTV. But The one that I like is your 90-day customer value. So the number of days for that would depend on how quickly your repurchase cycle is. So ours, if they are going to do a second purchase really quick, then it is within the 60, 90 days. So the 90-day customer value is like total sales divided by total customers, not transactions. And that'll give you an idea of whether that goes up or down as to whether people are repurchasing in that 90 days after. So I feel that's a better metric than CAC LTV. So
Awesome. And I imagine for the 3 brands we have here, that time period would all be very different as well. I looked at a stat, and it was 43% of customers, if they have a negative experience, will immediately stop using that brand and never go back. So what sort of an impact do you think the customer experience actually has for an individual purchasing through a brand? Sophie, I'll go to you.
I actually heard a statistic the other day that it's if one person buys something and gets a good experience, they'll tell one person. If one person buys something and they get a bad experience, they'll tell 5. So, I mean, that kind of answers the question. I mean, we're predominantly an online brand. We've got one brick and mortar store, but our customer service is the first touch point that any person has with our brand. I mean, if they have a good experience, if they know that you're helpful, if they know that you care, we're seeing more and more, even on social media, that people want to be a part of our brand. They want to know the ins and outs. They want to know the behind the scenes. So by us giving them that great customer experience, they're more and more likely to come back.
Awesome. And if you actually put a personality to the brand, if you really can relate to your customers and they understand who you are, who your brand is, then they're also more likely to purchase from you because they feel that connection rather than just a sort of a sales approach. I'd also love to hear your opinion from the July side as well.
Yeah, again, I have so much to say about this, actually. It starts from the founders. Like, Ethan and Rich are really hands-on. So we actually have a store that's attached, very similar to Nakedvice. The store is attached to the head office in Collingwood. And like 10% of the time, you'll probably get a head office staff and probably one of the founders serving you. So customer experience is the whole way through for us, and because of our higher price point AOVs, like what, 350, 400, we actually get a large percentage of our support tickets and customer inquiries are pre-conversion. So it's a huge deal for us. And what we find, and anecdotally, is when they come, because it's a lifetime warranty product, we know we'll probably end up having to talk to them at some stage. What we find is every time we turn them around, like their wheel breaks, and we actually honor the lifetime warranty, the loyalty is unbelievable. So we actually make sure, and we can, because of our price point, can ensure that we can provide that service and win them back. And that's why word of mouth is one of our biggest drivers, and that's why the referral program and stuff is so important to us. But I'll give you a couple of examples. And again, I know, like, if you are a smaller business or a lower price point, it is really hard to invest this much. But I would also Google the names of the people. If you see a ticket come through and you're like, this is gonna be, it could blow up, just make sure you don't piss off the wrong person. So we had an elderly couple in London. Their wheel broke, and they were flying out the next day. One of our customer service attendants saw it, and we're pretty lax because we're a small team. They FaceTimed the couple and fixed the lock. And it was a really old couple, and they were like, I can't believe, like, I'm not going to imitate them, but they were like, oh my God, someone FaceTimed us from Australia. And almost all the staff at our HQ have actually FaceTimed someone before to fix problems, because a lot of us have access to Gorgias and we see it all the time, and we actually get the product designers to do it too. So having a really customer-led team, like a Slack team, and being really conscious about it is really good, but it has to come from the top, so the founders do it. Another good example is, like, I had a CEO reach out to me, and of course I went above and beyond, but he was like a CEO of a big publication. He's like, hey, I'm flying out tonight, suitcase broken, what can you do? And I was like, do you want me to Uber it to you? And then he's like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah, I'll do that, yeah. So I Ubered it out, and we actually, don't tell your friends, but for specific people, we actually do Uber it out. Like, we'll see, they'll email us, and you obviously ask the address. If it's less than $20, you would literally make their day. And we're very lucky to be in the position where we can invest in that, and we see it come through like crazy. Like, it is unbelievable, and that's where the reviews come in, and that's where the word of mouth comes in. It's really important to us because it's the lifetime warranty is one of our biggest brand promises.
Awesome. And Matt, how do you manage the customer service over there at Lovisa?
I don't. It's not me. But
How
I
does
think
Lovisa manage it?
I think what I'm hearing in what you're saying, Zoe, is just following through on your promises, and because that's a human thing too. Like, you like people that follow through, and that's how we create that emotional connection. So as long as you're like, you're very clear on what those promises are, I find that's a big gap. And we're still like cleaning that up at Lovisa, like, the shipping speed and, the regions and, everything, making sure that's super clear and communicated every step of the way. And not just once either, because a lot of people just don't read stuff. Like, if for example, if you're going to do a pre-order and you put that, the shipping date under the add to cart button, like, no one reads that. Like, you got to consistently communicate what your promises are and then deliver on them. So, yeah.
Awesome. And I understand you use Yotpo for some of the areas of your marketing, so refunds or returns. Can you talk to that at all?
SMS we use them for, yeah.
Awesome.
So we use them for global coverage because Klaviyo can only support a few regions. Would you prefer using the Klaviyo where possible, because they can then do use Klaviyo profile properties within the SMS, but it allows us to create a cohesive experience globally, and that's really important to us. So you'd be surprised, South Africa, we actually have a database of like 20, 30,000 SMSs in South Africa. So
amazing.
How many stores again? You said to us, like, the South Africans, 100 stores?
Nearly 100 stores in South Africa, I think, yeah.
Awesome. And I'd love to get really specific in terms of the customer response there. Like, how long would a customer typically wait to hear back from you? Maybe Zoe.
Wow, I think our goal is something crazy, like, I think it was like 2 hours. I think, and no, we're not that far off. It depends on the period. Obviously, like Black Friday and peak season is wild, and June and July are crazy. Yeah. That's like North Star goal. I think we have a really, really aggressive automation goal. So if I can say, I just spoke to them this morning actually because I knew I was coming here. They said, I think we've recently hit 25% of our tickets are automated via Gorgias, just by simply implementing self-service and article recommendations. So those helped a lot for us because we were getting an insane amount of volume. And if you actually consider all the touch points for us, there's the pre-conversion stuff, and then there's the lifetime warranty stuff that makes it really complicated. And we get a lot of people who get really stressed out about shipping because when you buy from us, it's like you're buying for a trip. So they get really, really anxious. So for us, that's how we've been able to reach that. We recently hired local customer service attendants. We somehow managed to find Aussies based in London and in the US, so it's actually helped a lot. So we're seeing really good traction. I would say the CX team for us is like one of our best performing teams in the business. They just absolutely smash it. And the reason for that is because we give them a lot of license to operate autonomously and independently. So we give them, like, if you haven't heard of it, like, we're just make the customer happy. There's like a specific allowance that they can use to use their discretion. And also we really encourage them to pick up the phone and call. Wow. I know apparently it's like not a thing, but we actually have a real culture now of us just calling people, and they're really surprised. So even like Instagram DMs, because I also have the Instagram on my phone, I don't manage social, but I'll see if it's like, 2 a.m. or whatever and I'm really bored, or someone will have a problem, I'll just be like, what's your number? I'll like literally call you right now and we'll fix it. And the founders actually still have Gorgias on their phone and they see every ticket that comes through. So it's hard when it's not led from the top down, but we're really fortunate that it is for us.
And how about you, Sophie? What would be your turnaround time?
I mean, Australia, 4 to 5 hours, but we are trying to get that lower. We've just seen a massive uptick in our international sales. That's actually been something that hasn't been massive for us until recently. So that is something that we're looking at doing, because obviously the time there would be very different. But because we are such a small team, it is kind of a bit of all hands on deck. I'm logged into live chat. I'm chatting to people. So is everyone kind of founders as well. Everyone's kind of involved. So I would say it's less than 4 to 5 hours, but that is around what we do. And then we are also looking at how to incorporate that better for our international customers as well.
Awesome. So coming up, a lot of brands in this room are going to be going through the Black Friday, Cyber Monday period. After that, there's typically a bit of a lull. So maybe going through December after shipping cuts off, looking at January and February. What are some things that you do to keep your potential customers or customers engaged when you're not actually pushing them to buy?
We are a really intensely product-first business. So I actually spent a lot of my time on product and doing the campaign scheduling and timing things properly. So for us, I always make sure we launch something really freaking sexy right after Black Friday, and it always works, right? And it has to, and you have a really fun campaign. We also don't really send very many EDMs, so that's why our open and click rates are good. We should probably be a bit better with the list cleaning, so I need to come talk to you. But that's what we do. So we'll always try and launch something straight after. So that's like the Wednesday after Black Friday, and do something really fun, or do like a really cool giveaway. So we always have something planned. January is a quieter time for us, but we just know now that's like back to work. So that's when we do the bags, essentially. So I would just say it does take a few years for you to kind of understand how it works. And we just kind of preface it by planning announcements or partnerships in the quieter moments. So for us, it's like the discussion we're having now is, well, the Olympics thing is really cool. Do we do it before Black Friday so that like the brand is getting lots of eyeballs? Or do we do it after, because then people are like, oh crap, like that's so cool, I should buy it for Christmas. I missed the boat on Black Friday. So have a think about your moments and what matters for you, and then plan it accordingly.
Great. And Sophie?
We're actually trialing something new this year after Black Friday. Obviously, you can expect a bit of a slump, but what we're going to do, we haven't quite figured out the timing yet, but we're going to send out an email to every single customer that purchased with us from Black Friday and offer them an incentive. Again, we're not quite sure what we're going to offer yet, but that could be money off, a discount code, anything like that. And the wording we will use could be surrounding, if you don't want to purchase it, purchase something for mum for Christmas, something along those lines. So kind of offering them an incentive to buy is kind of the avenue that we're doing after Black Friday this year.
And then after that period, when you're getting through, maybe January next year, is there anything that you do to engage them not around purchasing? Is there any education pieces or anything like that?
TikTok. TikTok for us is just, it's what people want to see. They want to see the behind the scenes. They want to see me. They want to see the customer service girl. They want to see our founders. They want to know what's going on. They want to see us designing products. They kind of just want to feel involved, which we're seeing more and more and more. So we definitely will play on that as well.
And how does your TikTok content differ from other content?
I mean, it's very organic, but we don't try to make it organic. It's literally just, we were trying to make it all the beautiful models and that kind of thing behind the scenes of our models doing their makeup, but what they want to see is me cleaning the model's shoes. Like they want to see the not gorgeous side of fashion, which is so interesting. And I do get it, because when I watch other people's TikToks, I want to see what they're doing as well. So we're kind of just playing on the fact of what we actually do every day, instead of trying to glamorize it or trying to make it exciting. We're just showing these girls what it is that we actually do.
And Matt, coming through your slower periods, is there anything that you do outside of pushing for sales?
Well, I'd say after Black Friday, it's less crazy for us, but it's still, nuts until like Boxing Day. Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Seasonal. The seasonal stuff, especially Christmas. Like, people go nuts for those, like, champagne glasses, dogs, Christmas tree
My mum's got
earrings,
snowmans.
Like the thing that we're always talking about is newness, because how our product catalog works is we have like 7,000 SKUs, active SKUs, and we add 150 new SKUs a week. Wow. So you can imagine, like, we've always got something to talk about, like trends and styles. But for Christmas, it's mostly around like that seasonal kind of, are you going to an event or a this or a that, or yeah. So that's what we try to talk to.
Awesome. All right. Well, to finish us up today, I'd love to hear just one tip from each of you guys. So obviously we're going into the Black Friday period. What is one thing that brands should be considering for their customer retention?
I've got an easy one, is that you can never start too early. Like you kind of think, oh, Black Friday, it's not until the end of November. But what I've learned probably in the last year is that you can never start acquiring new leads, new customers, mobile numbers, emails too early. So the sooner you start, I would say the better.
2 quick things you can do. One is a couple of weeks before you start your Black Friday sale, change all your email and SMS acquisition with Black Friday messaging. Tell them what you're going to do and when you're going to start, and make sure the messaging is, you need to be on the list to get this. Because if you're doing exclusive offers for email and SMS and the sign up is the gateway, that's a great way of promoting it. And the second one is post Black Friday, if your repeat purchase cycle is short enough, create a segment of them. Talk to them, because they've had a specific experience with your brand in the last couple of days. They've purchased. Now's the time to continue that relationship.
My big tip, and I've done this 3 years in a row now, is having a backup offer, which I inevitably use anyway because I get greedy. Pick one and then pick the other, and then maybe find a way to test it that's meaningful for you. You can even test it now, which is pretty exciting because I'm actually seeing a lot of brands do out of season sales. So like I've seen an underwear brand recently went on sale like twice in the span of like a month, which they normally never do, and it's quite not typical for them. But it's good because you can test it. If you're like, I don't want to publicly advertise that, just do a small email. I've done this before, so it's like the most basic as plain text email to a small segment, and then just see how many redeem it, and then just A/B test it with a couple of offers and see what's more enticing. And because you can restrict the list, you can restrict how much it would cost you if it goes awry. So, that's a good one actually.
Awesome. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think testing things in the lead up to Black Friday so that you know it's going to be good is incredible. We did a lot of tests even just through end of financial year sales this year to prep us for what offers our clients would have for Black Friday. So you sort of know if it works then. But then if it doesn't work, you've also got several months to actually prepare for that and find something that does work and does convert at a really high rate as well.
Actually, I'm really curious because I am still locking in the Black Friday offers, and I think I'm really early. I'm not that one. Who here has actually locked in their BFCM plans? Okay, good. It's not just me. yeah, it's hard. It takes a really long time, and we've been thinking a lot about it.
I think everyone's got a little bit of homework to do then. Another thing just to note and be aware of as well is when you are setting up your Black Friday campaigns, it's not something you can just do on the day of or the day before. You need to have things set up. You need to have ads approved so that they are ready to go. Things can go wrong in the platform, and we have seen this before with our accounts when clients are, sending in the designs late and we're trying to get them up the day before and the platform's too busy, ads don't go live. So just be really, really prepared for this. We're trying to launch a lot of our sales starting November 1st as well, so you can beat that rush and you can actually be really prepared. If something does go wrong, you have so much time to sort that out. People also have a finite budget, and I think especially through the past couple of years that we've had in all areas, people are only going to have so much to spend. And so the earlier you start, the more chance that you actually have to get that customer and for them to be prioritizing your brand as well. You'll also have cheaper CPMs, so that's great. I think that's everything from us up here, but are there any questions that anyone would like to ask this panel?
It's a great question. I would say it totally depends on the brand. I used to work agency side, before Lovisa, and everyone had a different cadence. So we call it, your campaign cadence, as that like number of campaigns per week normally would say. Start with one and just keep going up there. Just keep going gradually up every second or third week until you get your engagement stats start to drop, and then you're like, well, that's my campaign cadence. So like you let them tell you, like basically experiment. So you're talking like looking at all the different, opens, clicks, unsubscribe, spam. If those are, leveling out, and obviously reference the Klaviyo benchmarks if that's what you're using.
Can I also encourage you, like we recently, I used to have a really big focus on campaigns. This year we actually shifted our focus to the flows. So they're really underrated. So I would actually look more into the flows. And then with the campaigns, we have this rule, and it's so not like numbers driven. It's like, well, one, is it actually like something that anyone would give a shit about? And so we only talk to them when we have something cool. Like, so it's always like, is it a product launch or is it a promo? And like, we don't ever talk to them campaign wise unless it's that. But we recently refocused our efforts to the nurture campaigns, and that's like, we're really seeing it fly.
Yeah, that's what I'm working on at the moment. It's like 4 months worth of work dedicated to that.
Oh, and it's really easy.
On automations, yeah.
It's like, just for the longest time, I just used the Klaviyo templates. Low effort.
So you'll see roughly, because I measure attribution for email and SMS in GA. That's where I take my where's my total percentage of revenue? Where are the different mediums, as in like email, SMS, flow versus campaign? Like I separate them so I can track them differently. And then you generally find it's a 60, 40 or 70, 30 split between campaigns and automations. So campaigns generally, depending on the brand and the life cycle, do more, but at least 30, 40% is automations. So you should be like allocating resources, according to that.
There's actually a really, I think, good piece of hidden information in your answer, Matt, and it's let your customers give you the answers for things. So when you're testing things, just look at the data, chuck something out there. Don't have too much weight behind what you actually want to see or what design you want to work or what offer you want to work. Leave it completely up to your customers. Those are the ones that are going to be buying.
Because you baby brand, is that what it's called? Yeah, check out the Memo. They do great.
We're with the Memo.
Oh yeah, yes. But their EDMs, yeah.
I was going to add on to that. You would be very surprised what the cadence should be. Like we do a cadence that's probably about right. We could change the content of what we do, and I plan to kind of get more involved in that. But 3 to 4 emails a week.
I do one a week.
Yeah.
At the moment, I feel like almost that's too much. So that's why I'm like unsure whether I need to pull back a little bit or if it's the content. But yeah.
If you're constantly relying on your gut feel, you're going to get stressed. Just let the data tell you what's happening.
And there was a question in the back as well.
But yeah, like I would say, yeah, we have. Like we make sure that we're covered essentially in operating. It's going to be hard, as we get older. Like
getting like 4 2 suitcases and a return one. Are you backdating that return cost involved into the CAC? Or
not honestly, not like actively. We have set costs that the finance team provide us and like set a cost targets, and then we just work towards it, and then we kind of just figure it out as we go. Sorry, that's probably not the answer that you wanted. Why did you ask that? Because you're looking at...
We have a warranty policy.
Oh my god. Okay, so that I can answer. Like, how do you protect yourself when you offer such an intense warranty? We spend so much money and time on product. Like, it's actually unbelievable. So we do have that natural confidence in the product to perform because we literally do work with the best luggage suppliers. We spend a lot of time looking at repairs and before replacements, and that has stopped in the number of full replacements that we have to do. And also, a lot of people, and I hazard to say this, but a lot of people will just buy a new one. But we obviously honor the policy completely. Like, we never break that promise. And it has been quite good. If we talk about like warranties, like Aussies especially are just very reasonable and great consumers. It's been a bit harder with the US because they're such advanced e-commerce online purchases that their demands are insanely high from everything from like shipping all the way to sales to everything. If you're in the US, you know what I mean.
Awesome. Any more questions from anyone? Yes?
I just wanted to ask a question around flows. Other than the standard ones like post-purchase and sign-up, what sort of flows are you guys putting in place on an ongoing basis?
We've also got a We Miss You flow. So I think it's after 68 days, which I did pull that number from somewhere. We'll send them a We Miss You. So it's come back with a discount code, obviously. We also have a thank you flow that's either a thank you for purchasing with us again or thank you for purchasing for the first time. And then we also do give our customers, which also probably answers your question, an option of what they opt into and out of, so they can choose whether to just get promotions, whether it's new product or whether it's everything. They can also pick that as well. So that's kind of, I think that's all the flows that we have. Yeah. We try to keep them as simple as possible though, so that customers aren't getting inundated with emails.
My response to that would be like, you need, there's two phases with setting up automations or flows, as Clavio calls them. One is you just set up all the basic stuff, which is like the 4 to 6 basic ones. And the next one is, I would encourage you to think about what's the customer journey that you want to create first. Totally map it out, like the whole entire thing in like great detail, and then just build that. Because that's going to offer a far, because every brand's life cycle is different. So for example, getting people to second purchase online is something that's very important for us, and we want to put a lot of effort into that. So the flow that I built there is going to be different for another brand. So like, for example, it's got 8 different splits with 9 emails each over like a couple of weeks. And it's very specific and based on data, and we've got stuff we're going to A/B test in that. But that's because I was thinking about, okay, what is the data telling me? How can I create a customer journey that's cohesive, that makes sense? I spent probably a month and a half just mapping stuff out. Like obviously different scale, different circumstance, but I would encourage you to think about it that way. Like use something like Miro or FigJam or something like that. Map it out how you want to build it, then build it.
We spend a lot of time on the post-purchase reviews. That's probably the most important one for me. I care the most about that. The rest are like, there's so many great templates, but for us, because of the weight that we put on product reviews, because of the importance of them for Google Shopping, it's like my utmost priority to get the review.
Any other questions? Yes. I think our next event might need to be on email marketing and flows. So come back for round 2.
I don't really think of it that way. Yeah. We have the marketing calendar that we do, which we work to like 3 months in advance at most. That's me like really organized. And we just follow that. And because we had already done the pre-thinking, being like, this makes sense for us, this makes sense for the consumer, and it's timely, we just follow that essentially.
We're the same, exactly the same, yeah. We're not that organised 3 months in advance, but we try to be. But yeah, we're exactly the same. There's no real method to our madness, unfortunately.
We're not very organised, but got a lot going on. The way that we think of it at Lovisa is we align the calendar a year out in advance with all the big dates that we're going to align ourselves with, like the the Afterpay, the Black Friday, the spring racing, carnival, that's big for us. Those kind of things, and then either side of that, we have probably 4 to 6 content pillars that we use in all our organic content, and then I lean on that in email. So.
And I think back to what Matt was saying before, just let the data tell you as well. If you're sending emails out and you're finding that it's a higher unsubscribe rate, or people aren't opening that, take that as the answer to that as well. I think we had one more question and then we'll wrap up. Oh, there's so many. We'll all be around after this as well, so you can ask some more questions. But you.
Yeah, that is a big factor. We have a good AOV, it's a lot harder if you're lower. But we have a stellar finance team that give us very strict bench numbers to play with, and we do. Okay, probably a really good way is, one, have you done the finance work? Have you done the work to know what it takes for you to operate profitably, right? And it takes time. At the start, of course, we were just cowboys. In fact, even now, sometimes I'm just like, what are we doing? So there's that. The thing that has changed the game for us, even if you're like, oh my God, I am freaking out about how much we're spending, and we did this recently, is just we had a dashboard, and we have the in-platform metrics, obviously for Meta and Google, no one was really looking at it as well as we should. So we did this Slack channel. I can't believe I'm sharing this, it's so basic, but like we have a Slack channel now that we just do like the daily MER, daily ACOS, daily ROAS, and it actually helped significantly, just having visibility, and then you have the right people in the Slack channel, and then we always discuss it every day. This came about because US CACs are crazy. Yeah. Does that answer your question? Is that? Yeah, but in short, I don't really have a great answer for you, except it takes time for you to figure it out, because especially if you're in like your first year, you're like, what is my LTV? And even for us, right, we're like, we are launching a product with a lifetime warranty. Like, how are we gonna, which is why product is so important for us, the roadmap, product roadmap. Hard. It is hard. It's like both basic and simple, like in theory, but also very hard for you to finally get there. We're in year 4 and it's still just like every day I'm just like, just want to make sure we're still running to this. So tough.
One thing we do with our clients that have a lower average order value is just really work to bundles. So, you know, if you sell t-shirts and you can put together a 12-pack of t-shirts for Christmas, then it's a great gift for a dad. You know, that's something where someone's actually going to spend 12 times the amount. They're going to get a great discount. And you're going to be happy with giving a bigger discount because they are buying more. So if you are working with lower average order values, just whatever you can do to boost that, or combining products, or even just looking at brand crossovers as well that you can do for that. All right, I will wrap up there. I know there's a few more questions, but we will be around to answer anything you have. If you also see any Megaphone people, they're happy to answer and talk to all of this. We've seen it all, so we should be able to help you. Thank you so much to our guests.